I want to thank everyone for coming here today. It will be interesting. And the editor here, Nicholas Chairman, she will have any of what to write about. She'll take her names. I'll hand you over to Paddy, and Paddy will then hand you over to Nicholas Chairman. And another one that another friend of mine that was on the board in 1962. We travelled over to London. That's a long time ago. We're going to sort of Paddy, I'll hand you over to Paddy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michael. And I'm very pleased to have been asked here to co-launch the book along with Nicola Kearns, who assisted in the publication of the book. I always knew there was a good book in Michael, and maybe there's another one or two, because since I got to know him, he's been a man always coming up with ideas, a very progressive man. I don't need to tell his neighbours that, because he's been here since 1973 or 4, and I think the parish and the surrounding areas has been the better of the presence of the McGovern family here. All 9 of them at various stages, and Michael and Mary. And it was great that he had initiative to put his thoughts down, because he had a lot of thoughts and a wonderful memory. I had occasion to travel to West Cavan from house to house on other business, and I just simply could not believe the exact memory that he had about who lived where and who was married to who and whatnot, almost like an encyclopedia. If the Gardaí had the same level of information, all crimes would be solved overnight. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the book. Michael, as you know, was born in 1939, when, as Ronnie Drew says in the song, the sky was full of lead. But anyway, Michael came into the world at a hard time. He was forced to emigrate as a very young man. Some of his people who were on the boat with him are here tonight, and they survived, and he survived, and he flourished in England, I suppose simply because he was willing to work, and there was lots of it there. He did dangerous work, he did repetitive work, he did any work that was put in front of him. And then in the early 70s, he had a brainwave, sorry, I beg your pardon. In the 70s, he had a brainwave to return to his native country and decided to opt for County Leitrim. And I think Leitrim has been the better of it. Thank God that he came here, because he has played, himself and his wife Mary and family have played an important part in parish life here, everybody will agree, and indeed in the greater South Leitrim area. He was fortunate that, having purchased a farm, the best farm I suppose from many miles around, and he was fortunate that at that point in time you could buy, what did you tell me, Michael? You bought 5 cattle for £100, because there had been a crash. He was able to stop his farm, and in no time he was renting adjoining lands or whatever, and became quite an extensive farmer. But he always found time to participate in committees and in anything that was positive or good for the community. So I think this is only the beginning for Michael as an author. I think there's several more books in him, but we'll deal with one tonight. And we're about to launch it. Nicola Kearns, as I said, who assisted in the publication of it, and it tells a story from Leitrim Hills to London tunnels. Everybody in this room will be acquainted with people who emigrated under those same circumstances. And we're all familiar with the songs and the lore that's associated with it. Not for everybody, not everybody had the success. I think Michael made a great decision in coming back to Leitrim at that time. I think it honestly was a good decision, because education standards and all of that probably favoured his children, and it was a wise decision. Michael made very few foolish decisions. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I asked him, how long was he in England when he met Mary? And he was a little bit hazy about that, but he did admit that she had a very taming effect on him. And he obviously needed a bit of taming. But Mary has been a guiding hand with Michael down through the years. They work very much together as a unit to raise their family, and as I said, to be part of the community. It's a great job that Michael has put these thoughts down in writing. because, you know, we all float through life, we hear things, we don't remember them, but now they're recorded forever. And it's a pleasure for the likes of me, a somewhat younger man, to be part of this and to have that book for reference. And in a few moments now, Nicola and I will officially launch the book. Have you anything else to say, Michael? Nicola?
Oh, I have something to say, all right. Well, my name's Nicola Cairns, and I'm the owner of Butterfly Books Publishing Company here in Leitrim. And I was just explaining to a lady today that one of the reasons why I opened the publishing company here in Leitrim is because there's an awful lot of fantastic writers in Ireland, but a lot of them mightn't have the tools to get over the threshold that is needed to get your book into the traditional publishing mode in Ireland. And that is because it's a very clicky business, and unless you're somebody who's very computer literate, if you're not able to get a whole submission guideline, follow a submission guideline, do it all on the computer, type everything out, get it proofread, get it edited, get it formatted, and then present it and sell yourself to the publisher, you haven't a hope in hell of getting into the maybe one of the 5 people in Ireland who will be published in a year. So it's really, really difficult. So when I became a writer myself, I realised the difficulty, and I decided, do you know what? What I decided to do was I was going to proofread and edit, format and cover designs for books, and then I would hand them over to the publisher when everything was perfect, and they would make all the money. So I said, hang on, like Michael, I have to make a bit of money here. So I went back to college, I studied, and I did a publishing course and stuff, and then I opened my own publishing company. So I was fortunate enough to be contacted by Michael McGovern, and he said that I have a book, and he says, I want to get it out. And I said, okay, send it to me. So he gave me a box file, do you remember, Michael? Of newspaper clippings, bits and pieces of stuff, photographs, stuff he had written down on bits of paper over the years, and then he gave me some stuff on, I think on Word, Word document, and he said, will you make a book out of that for me? And I said, okay. So I did my best, and when I met him the first time in the commercial hotel, he told me that he didn't really mind what it was like, and he wasn't that bothered about it, and you just to do what you can. But he lied to me, because he was on the phone to me and on the email, have you this done? Have you that done? When will it be ready? Is it going to be out soon? Will it be? And I said, well, I have a couple of books coming out in the next week. Will you get this out first? He says, we need it out before I die. And then it was, remember as well, I said, what do you want in the cover? Sure, anything at all, he says. Until I designed the cover, and then he wanted blue. I don't know why you used to pick the blue. He said something about Calvin Sky or Calvin, something about blue anyway.
And the cabin colour.
The cabin colour. So he was particular about the blue. And then he wanted something maybe with at the farm that he'd left, which was a thatched roof. Isn't that right? So I had to put that in. And then well, there's something about London. And I was like, well, you know the book cover is like 6 by 9. We're not going to get. So if you see the book cover, you can see where I tried to get the patch, and then having him going with his cardboard suitcase, which he mentions in the book, towards the lights, and the lights is the tunnels and all that. So was he a pleasure to work with? Yeah, he was. He said he wasn't fussy and he didn't mind, but in the end he didn't mind because he wanted to be proud of his book, and he was absolutely right. And the thing is, his book's not an unusual story. Many people left England and still do, or left Ireland to go and work in England and America. But he was unusual because he wrote it. And not only that he wrote it at the time, he wrote it many years later. And I think it's funny because Mary was, his wife, was saying to me that she ended up with 10 children, she thinks, in the book, or she says, there's one I don't know where that came from. And he says that he'd be scandalised, I'd be scandalised, she said, in the town, because he has it that one of the babies was born a year before they got married. But so his dates were all wrong when it came to some things, and at one stage there was 2 Moras, he had 2 daughters called Mora. But I fixed that one. But when it came to the Tiger Tunnels, or the Tunnel Tigers, he had everything. The dates were perfect, everything was perfect, you know, all the percentages of many people who died and were maimed and all this different stuff. perfect, but his children, it was a little bit hazy. So I think Frank said that he was going to, no, not Frank, pardon, said it might be another book, and I don't know if there's another book.
He knew.
But anyway, I think you should all be very, very proud of his family, and you can tell by his writing how proud he is of his family and how much he loves his family and Mary. And there is a bit of romance in the book when he meets Mary.
Chapter 3.
Spoiler! So anyway, so congratulations, Michael, and well done. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. And not to steal Michael's thunder, but it would be remiss of us not to congratulate Michael's other neighbour here, Michael Darcy, who has also published a book. So maybe this part of the country might become the book part of Leitrim. I was in a place recently in Scotland and they call it Book Town Scotland, and they have a festival each year which invites 20,000 and has 20,000 visitors to a small village. It's known as the book capital of Scotland. Practically everybody who resides there has written a book. So maybe we're looking at the start of something great here in Drumcoura City tonight. Now, yes, we're going to ask Finola Maxwell to sing a song, or rather Michael has asked her, so we're all looking forward to that. So, Edwina Bucking is also in attendance, and Michael has insisted that she will do a dance. So make way for the two artists.